Hello and welcome back to Bookmark Chronicles. Today I'm doing my best books of 2021. So there are 15 books on this list. I didn't pick and choose which ones I wanted. Those are literally just all of the books that I rated 4.75 or 5 stars. So it worked out pretty nicely. I'm going to go through these in no particular order with the exception of my top 3, which I don't think will be surprising to anyone. So first I'm going to start with the 2 nonfiction books that I read. The first is Born a Crime by Trevor Noah. This is obviously a biography of Trevor Noah. I did a blended read of this, so I have the physical copy, but I also listened to the audio because it is narrated by Trevor himself. In this, we learn a little bit more about his childhood in South Africa during apartheid, which was literally illegal. So there were never moments where he, his mother, and his father could be in the same place, and he was allowed to acknowledge his father as his father, but he didn't understand why. I didn't learn about apartheid in school, so that was really informative to me. And also Trevor being the comedian that he is, he makes it really funny. So if you get a chance to read this, I would definitely recommend listening to the audiobook. The other nonfiction on this list is Women, Race, and Class by Angela Y. Davis. I read this as a part of Rachel's Feminist AF book club. We had a great discussion about it. I tabbed the heck out of this book. I really enjoyed it. And I didn't get to hood feminism, but I do want to get to it because I want to compare the two. Most of what's in this book is not surprising. Obviously, it is exactly as the title says, Women, Race, and Class. However, I did learn a lot about some of these white suffragettes, and I won't say that I'm surprised, but of course nobody talks about that part. So I would highly recommend this. I'm definitely looking forward to reading more Angela Davis. I just got another recommendation from Rachel that I'll be reading later in the year, so super excited about that. So as you can imagine, the majority of the books on this list will be fantasy. However, I did have 3 contemporary and 1 mystery, so I'm going to go over those before I jump into fantasy. First one on that list is Hair Love by Matthew A. Cherry. So for a little bit of context, I'm building a library of Black literature at my job, and I will have a small children's section. Even though it's on a college campus, I feel like they might have kids, they might have younger siblings, whatever the case may be. So one of the books that I got was Hair Love, and it's absolutely adorable. This is the book based off of the animated short that he did, and it's so cute. I love it. I'm so glad we have that book. It's a great book for little Black and brown girls and boys to appreciate their hair. It's about a little girl. She and her father are trying to do her hair while her mom's away, and it's really cute. So definitely recommend it. And of course, it's a super short read, so definitely pick that up if you have little ones in your life. Next is Clap When You Land by Elizabeth Acevedo. I listened to the audiobook of this, which I highly recommend. It is dual perspective, so it's narrated by both Elizabeth and another person, and I really love that. This book is about 2 girls. One lives in America, one lives in the Dominican Republic. They are sisters, but they didn't know that the other existed until their father dies in a plane accident. And the story, the struggles that each of the girls goes through, it's really good. It is so good. I absolutely love this book. I love anything by Elizabeth Acevedo at this point. I think the only thing I haven't read by her is With the Fire on High. But yeah, I mean, it's just such a good story. It's funny, it's heartbreaking, it's all the feels, and I love Elizabeth Acevedo. I really need to get a physical copy of this book because I like this specific cover better than the other one, but I really enjoyed this book. It's so good. The next book on this list is Monday's Not Coming by Tiffany D. Jackson. This is the first time that I read anything by Tiffany D. Jackson, and this book destroyed me. I cried when I read this book, and it's the first book that's made me cry in about 2 years. Our main character in this book, I think her name is Claudia. Her best friend Monday has not been to school the past couple of days. She hasn't come to see her at her house, and she doesn't understand why nobody is concerned about her whereabouts. So she starts looking for Monday and asking questions, and the truth of the situation is honestly heartbreaking. I know that Tiffany D. Jackson is typically a heavy hitter, and after this I did buy Grown, but I still haven't picked it up because I know that I need to be ready for it. But I absolutely love this book. It is a great discussion on mental health, and I will say that there are definitely content warnings for abuse against children. So if you can't read that, then do not pick this one up. But if you are able to do it, I highly recommend it. The next on this list is The Couple Next Door by Shari LaPena. This is the first time that I read anything by Shari LaPena. This book was gifted to me by Robin. I think Monday's Not Coming was also gifted to me by Robin. But this was so good. It was a wild ride. It's about a couple who goes next door to a dinner party. Their babysitter canceled at the last minute, so they leave their baby girl home alone. They're checking on her every half hour, but when they return from the party, she is missing. If you want drama, if you want chaos, if you want secrets and lies, then read this book. It was so good. Could definitely be a Lifetime movie. I enjoyed every second of it. It was a wild ride. There were a lot of plot twists. Some of them I found predictable, some of them I didn't see coming, but I enjoyed it overall. So now we're on to my fantasy books for the year, and the next one is Scythe by Neil Shusterman. I did put this on a 5-star prediction video, but I was like, it might be, it might not be. It was really good. I was so intrigued by everything that was happening here. I guess I didn't expect there to be like so much politics happening, but I really enjoy the drama and the conflict between the new order and the old order and all of that stuff. So I buddy read this with Robin. We both really enjoyed it and we'll be continuing the series. We're currently reading Thunderhead, but in this book we are following 2 young scythe apprentices. So in this world, disease and sickness no longer exist. So these scythes go around and they glean people when it is their time to die, essentially as population control. I did originally think that this book could have been a standalone, but as I'm reading the second one, I am enjoying it so far. So we'll see how it goes. I don't know how the trilogy overall is going to end. Actually, no, I have an idea about that now. But anyway, really excited to read the rest of the trilogy, and I really enjoyed this one. And that's the heat turning on in my building because it's fucking ancient. All right, the next book on this list is City of Brass by S.A. Chakraborty. So I gave this one 5 stars. The second book I gave 4 stars, and the third one I gave 2 stars. Even though I didn't enjoy the third book, I still love this series. I will always recommend it. I love City of Brass so much. It's so good, and the world in this book is just fucking amazing. So in this, we're following Nari, who is a con artist in 18th century Cairo. She accidentally summons an ancient Jinn warrior. This warrior realizes that she has some magical abilities, so he whisks her off to the magical city of Daevabad. If I could pick a fictional world to live in, I think I would pick Daevabad. It's so good. So this book is dual perspective. We get Nari's point of view as well as Alizaid Al-Khattani, who is the prince of Daevabad. Highly recommend if you enjoy North African or Middle Eastern inspired fantasies, political intrigue, a lot of drama. Definitely pick this one up. It's so worth it. The next books on this list are the entire Poppy War trilogy, including the novella The Drowning Faith that tells stories from Nejah's point of view. I absolutely loved all of these. I gave the Poppy War and the Burning God 4.75 stars, and I gave the Dragon Republic 5 stars. That was my favorite of the 3. I also gave 5 stars to The Drowning Faith. All right, we're gonna put those down because they're heavy. Anywho, in this we're following Ren, who is a young girl who lives in Nicara, where her only options are to either get married to a man that's 3 times her age or get into the military academy. She takes the test for the military academy and ends up getting the highest score in her province. She gets to the academy and starts her military training. While she's there, war breaks out and she and her classmates are sent into battle. So this is an adult fantasy. It does get gory and gruesome and brutal. All the content warnings. Just all of them. I think the chapter is 21. It's rough. It is rough to get through. But I really enjoyed this series. I don't necessarily like Ren, but I understand her actions. She's angry. She is pissed the fuck off. She is unhinged and she is ruthless. And I loved most of it. There were some times where I was like, girl, you didn't need to do that, but I loved it so much. And then Katai. At the moment, Chen Katai is my favorite character of all time. He is Ren's best friend and they go through it together. I absolutely love the series. I really enjoyed the first book. Dragon Republic made me feel like I personally have been betrayed, and then The Burning God had me crying like a little bitch. So absolutely love it, and I cannot wait for her new series. I'm not a huge dark academia person, but I'm really interested just because I like her writing. So I definitely want to see how that one goes. And she said on Twitter recently that she's almost ready for ARCs to be sent out. So I will be requesting one of those. Okay, so now we are on to my top 3 books. One of them is adult and the other 2 are young adult, which is shocking because, you know, tropes and whatnot. But I am just going to place my adult book at number 3 because I can't really compare it to the 2 young adults. It doesn't mean that it's my 3rd favorite. It just means it's my favorite adult fantasy. I couldn't figure out how to like rank it against those. I don't know what all those hand movements were, but anyway. So my number 3 is Upon a Burning Throne by Ashok K. Banker. This is the first book in the Burnt Empire trilogy, I guess I should say. I talked a little bit about this in my December wrap up, but I absolutely fucking love this book. It is so good. Okay, little background. Steph was telling me that this was supposed to be like a 9-book series, but for some reason, this book is not selling as well as it should be. I don't know why. I am going to shove this book down everybody's throat like I did with Ray Bear because it deserves so much more hype than it's getting. I absolutely love this book so much, and I don't understand why more people aren't reading it. I personally got the recommendation from a video by Starla and Joyce. She really enjoyed it, and then I found out Steph read it. Apart from those two, I don't know anyone else who has read this book. It doesn't have a lot of ratings on Goodreads or StoryGraph, and that needs to change. So y'all need to read this book. I promise you it will be worth it. So in this, we're following 2 young princes. The emperor has recently died, and one of these princes is the next heir. So Audrey is blind and Faith is albino. Both of them pass the test of fire, in which they are literally sat upon a burning throne, so they decide that they'll rule together. However, there is another little girl who also passes the test. She's also older than both Audrey and Faith, so technically she is the true ruler. However, there is a bunch of family drama and political intrigue. They do not want her to rule. She's basically ignored, and they don't want to give her her claim to the throne. When I tell you that shit hit the fan halfway through the fucking prologue, that's how soon shit gets real. It is chaotic. There's so much drama, so much political intrigue, and I absolutely love this book. More people need to read this because it really deserves so much more attention, and I don't understand why it's just not getting it. I mean, I have some feelings about other things that are getting more attention, but we're not going to go into that right now. Pick up this book because it's so good. It is thick. I did use my transparent sticky notes when I read this, but it's so good. I'm really excited to continue the series. I have the 2nd book on audio already, and I got approved for an arc of the 3rd, so I'm super excited. But the 2nd and 3rd books only appear to be available in paperback and a hardcover. So now I guess I have to switch to the paperback, but until then, I love this book so much. Read it. I'm not one to say you have to read this or whatever, but you definitely should consider it because it really does deserve more hype. All right, so we're down to the final 2, and my number 2 book is gonna be a little bit of a surprise to some people because it's Ray Bear by Jordan Fuego. So this did not make my number 1. However, I still love this book with all my heart. I have the special editions from Illumicrate that Dasha sent me with the little figurines on top. They're so cute. Anyway, in this we're following Tarsai, who has been raised in isolation. She only sees her mother every once in a while and only refers to her as the lady. One day the lady comes to her and says that you're going to be sent to the capital. When you're there, you will gain the trust of the crown prince, and then you will kill him. So we follow Tarsai's journey to the children's palace, and it is absolutely amazing. I learned this year that I really enjoy found family, and that is literally the foundation of this empire. And I absolutely love Tarsai's connection and relationship with her council siblings. It is the most pure and genuine thing ever, and I love it so much. I definitely think I want to reread this. Probably not this year though, because I have a lot of things that I need to read this year, but hopefully in 2023 I can take the time to reread this. Okay, if you're surprised by the fact that Ray Bear is at number 2, I understand. I'm surprised too, to be totally honest. I did not think that it was possible for another book to come so close to it, let alone another YA, because again, tropes. I pretty much hate all of them. However, this book not only beat Ray Bear for my top spot, it also has a trope in it that I hate, and in this book, I actually didn't mind it. Iron Widow by Jiren J. Zhao. This book is so fucking good. I don't know how they put this all together and how they made it as good as they did, but this book is so fucking good, and I don't even think there's a release date for book 2, but I need it like right now, immediately. So I got the recommendation from Rachel. She really loved this book, and then she was having a live show and she asked if I wanted to be a part of it, and I was like, hell yeah, because I really want to read this book that you're literally raving about. She squealed so many times in that video, and when Rachel squeals in a video, it's because the book is really fucking good, okay? In this, we're following Wu Zetian. Her older sister was sent into the military to be a concubine pilot for this super popular pilot. He's like the golden boy, right? Her sister dies, and so Zetian is like, okay, well, I'm gonna volunteer to be a concubine for that same pilot, and I'm gonna kill him because he killed my sister. So she's planning, she gets selected to go into the military, she gets like upgraded to consort or some shit, and she's like, all right, I'm probably not gonna get out of this situation alive and I don't give a fuck. However, before she can execute her plan, they get thrown into battle. Typically what happens during battle is that the pilot and his concubine pilot, which is always a woman, they go into their war machines, which are called chrysalises. Essentially, the concubine pilots are just there for the pilots to essentially feed off of. They drain their energy and end up killing them. When Zetienne goes into battle, she ends up killing her pilot and becomes the Iron Widow. However, the society she lives in is super fucking patriarchal, obviously, because they're just killing all these girls without a second thought. They decide to pair her up with another pilot who's super controversial, thinking that he'll kill her, and basically chaos ensues from there. There are some really important conversations within everything that's happening in this book, and some of them I didn't even think about or process until we were having our live show discussion, and I definitely want to reread this one too. Again, not this year because I have so many other things that I need to get to, but I cannot wait to reread this and also get more information on the second book because I am dying to know how this ends. This book ends on a huge fucking cliffhanger. I'm so excited to continue the series, and I hope that y'all are reading this. I know it's been going around, at least it was nominated for the Goodreads Best YA, even though there are a few other books who are definitely worthy that didn't, but definitely pick this one up. So there you have it. Iron Widow is my favorite book of 2021. So those are all of my best books of the year. If you're gonna take any recommendations away from this, it should be one or all of the top 3. Let me know if you've read any of these books or if they are on your TBR. Otherwise, that's all I have for you today, and I'll see you in the next video.